Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I am now convinced that Jeff Bezos and Brad Garlinghouse are the same person. Let me explain. Before I get going here, if you would please hit that thumbs up, give me a like, and if you haven't yet, and you don't completely hate everything that you hear from me, I would love it if you'd hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate all the support I get on this channel, so thank you very much. Alright, this video, if you've got 7 minutes to spare after this video, click on the link. I'm going to put this below. This is a video from CNBC titled Jeff Bezos 1999 Interview on Amazon Before the Dot-Com Bubble Burst. And I have to tell you, listening to him, I swear, it's like he's like the spitting image of Brad Garlinghouse, or maybe since Brad came after in terms of notoriety, you could say that Brad's the spitting image of Jeff Bezos more appropriately. But in this particular interview, and this is right before the dot-com bubble burst, this interviewer's throwing hard questions and saying, isn't it extremely risky to be investing in Amazon? And then he goes on to say, well, yeah, any internet company is, price-wise, of course, is very risky. He wanted to talk about the volatility of internet companies in terms of stock price. That was fun to hear. My gosh, it made me think of crypto immediately. He's talking about how volatility is all over the place, but in the long run, there's going to be a lot of winners. And it's funny, so what we do in the crypto world today is we like to compare crypto to the internet boom and bust and then what happened thereafter, because obviously the internet's still around. Funny enough, he had something to compare it to, and he was comparing it to the computer boom of the 80s. He said something along the lines of, could you have guessed in the early 80s who the 5 biggest wonders in computer technology would have been? Well, it's a good point. And during the dot-com boom, right before the bust, could you have predicted who, the most successful internet companies would be? Well, no, but they're there, aren't they? And in hindsight, we can look at a bunch of them. Some of them came after the bust. You got your Facebook and, there's Uber, of course. There's all sorts of companies, Netflix and Amazon. And so, if you want to parallel that to what's happening today, it's clear that cryptocurrencies are here to stay, which means that there will be a certain number of winners and a lot of losers. That's fine. And investing in a lot of this stuff is highly risky. That's fine. But if you really study your stuff and you know it, in my mind, not financial advice, but I think a lot of it can become less risky. And the interview also went on to talk about how, essentially, isn't it audacious that you think you can just come in here? There are businesses that have been selling the products that you're selling for decades and decades, and you think you can just come in here and in short order disrupt the industry, and you're just going to take all this business from them. And you should hear his answer. It's definitely worth listening to. But he didn't think it was audacious at all. He thought the business model was so different, and he was cited, for instance, just one thing, because the interviewer's like, hey, you got all these distribution centers. You're just as bad as retail. And he goes, well, no, it's a completely different business model, the way we go to market and the way we service customers, and it's a very customer-focused business model that he had. He said the distribution centers that we have cost about 30 cents per square foot, whereas in a high-traffic retail place, well, anywhere in the United States, he said it could be $7, 30 cents per square foot versus $7 in traditional popular retail locations at the time, anyway. And it's just fascinating to hear this. And so I've watched every video of Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse that I've been able to come across ever since I got into cryptocurrency and became a fan of Ripple and XRP in November of 2017. And the things that Brad says, I don't know if he saw this interview and copied, but I'm telling you, it's just spot on. And it's exciting though, because Brad gets the big picture, and Ripple is one of the few adults in the room. If Ripple were a person, it would be the adult. You know what I mean? It's exciting to see. And so I think that, if you could fast forward out, because look at this. So this was 1999, I think. So we're 20 years later. I think if you could fast forward another 20 years, my gosh, what is the cryptocurrency asset class going to look like? I think it's going to be valued in the trillions. I suspect that XRP will have staying power. Again, not financial advice. That's just my speculation, and I think it's going to come to fruition. I think XRP could be worth a fortune. I think that its market cap should and will be in the trillions because it solves an actual problem. And we're already starting to see real-world adoption, and money will follow. Money will follow. This is just the beginning. So anyway, again, like I said, I'll link this below. I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. Next XRP piece of news here. This is actually a blog. You guys familiar with Galgatron? He is one of my favorite people that I follow on Twitter. Early on, when I didn't know as much about Ripple and what they're doing to position XRP as a mechanism for cross-border settlement in real time, I learned a lot from him, and so I read his blog all the time. This one he just released today, and I read through it. It's a good read. It's fun. And basically, what he's doing is he's talking about all the competitors in the crypto space and why Ripple and XRP are superior, and it's a fun read. So if you guys got a little bit of spare time, I definitely encourage you to check him out. And he's got all sorts of blogs. He's been doing this for some time, so if you want to check out his website, you won't be disappointed. You will learn something from him. You know, I know a lot about Ripple's plan for XRP. I know a lot about how XRP can be used. I follow this stuff on a daily basis, and I still have stuff to learn from this guy. And definitely from a technical side, too. He actually gets the tech side certainly more than I do. And that's something that I am continually learning, because I actually converse with Galgatron on Twitter with some amount of frequency, and he's always just really nice. Some people think that he's like too salty or something. He's just blunt. He's a good guy. Like, he's very knowledgeable. I like him a lot. But some people can't handle him, so he's a little firecracker, I think. So. But I like the guy, and I'm still learning from him, so... You know, if there's something that I don't know, he's the guy to go to on Twitter, man. Ask the question. Him and XRP Trump. Those are the two I think of probably most right off the top of my head. And also because they're so active, there's a good chance you can get a response quickly. And Hammer Toe's another good one. I've talked about these guys all in previous videos. But anyway, I want to share this one with you because it's a good read. It's he's very pro Ripple and XRP, but he's a critical thinker. He's not afraid to use critical thinking to question... big picture, is there anything that maybe is a negative for Ripple or XRP? He's a realist, but that doesn't mean he's a pessimist. That's how I operate. So I actually really appreciate that. It doesn't have to be all puppies and ice cream all the time. Let's be aware of our competitors and what threats are to whether it's the asset class or XRP or Ripple. Just be aware of it and talk about potential negatives. And without doing that, I mean, gosh, you could get blindsided. So anyway, I appreciate it. All right, next, this is kind of cool here. This is from Cointelegraph. SEC Commissioner Jackson thinks a regulator will approve BTC ETF. Leaked interview shows. And so this is the pertinent part. I don't have too much to say about this. It speaks for itself. But Robert J. Jackson Jr., the Securities and Exchange Commission, their only Democratic commissioner, said that despite its string of rejections of ETF applications last year, the practice will ultimately change. And here's his quote. And again, he's a commissioner with the SEC. Eventually, do I think someone will satisfy the standards we've laid out here? I hope so, yes, and I think so. How about that? And, you saw what happened with the futures in late 2017 with Bitcoin, and that certainly helped get more people into the crypto space, and fine, it crashed afterwards. But look, a lot of people think that with the approval of an ETF by the SEC, it'll be a strong catalyst, bring a lot more money, a lot more exposure to the crypto space. And that's probably true. It's probably true. To what degree, I don't know. Maybe it could cause the next bull run. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But I want this to happen. Because, even if it just starts with Bitcoin being approved for an ETF, at some point, whether it's 1, 2, 3 years down the road, whatever it is, at some point, it's not just going to be Bitcoin approved. I fully anticipate that XRP would be thrown in there as well. People are going to want exposure to this. It's a new exciting asset class, and it's got a tiny market cap today. I think it's at about, we had a little bit of spike today in terms of price, and I think it's about $122 billion. It's nothing. It's a big nothing. But it's not going to stay like that. It's going to get huge. And XRP is going to be a massive part of that. And I still think at some point XRP will overtake Bitcoin in market cap. Just mark my words on that. Especially if there's a successful 51% attack on Bitcoin. Just watch. All right, moving on. I'm going to be real quick on this one because I don't know for sure how interested you guys are, but I'll cover this briefly in the last few videos. This is there's a couple quick updates about the CEO of Quadriga who died, the Quadriga Exchange, cryptocurrency exchange, and he was the only one with access to 137 million worth of US dollars worth of customers' cryptocurrencies. So it's just stuck out there in the blockchain. That's the claim anyway. Well, there's a claim here that a lot of, I think it was just Ether in reading this. Yeah, I think it was just the Ethereum. It was moved in the 8 days leading up to his death, and then it stopped. And so people are kind of theorizing, was that the exchange moving the money? And who knows? It's all hearsay, but thought I'd share it with you. And then there's another piece over here. This one is from Cointelegraph. And it turns out a Canadian securities regulator, the commission, they're looking into this. Where's the pertinent part? Yeah, they initiated a probe into Canada's major cryptocurrency exchange, Quadriga CX. Reuters reported on February 8th. Okay, well, we'll see what comes of it. Fascinating. And last thing I wanted to tell you real quick. Look, every time this comes up, it's worth highlighting. I hope none of you out there are leaving yourselves vulnerable, but if you haven't taken your money off an exchange, please do so. Look at this headline from Cointelegraph.com. Analysis. Hackers liquidated 3.2 million in tokens from Cryptopia Hack. It's a lesser known exchange. I've used it before, so I'm familiar with them. They're real small though. But guys, yeah, if you haven't done it yet, seriously, that's one of the first things I did. I'd been in crypto for a little over a month, and I was like, oh yeah, it's bad to keep crypto on an exchange, and so I got all of it off. Get yourself a paper wallet, go into cold storage, because these attacks are going to keep coming, and it's a shame, but people are actually out there being harmed or losing money. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend coming up here, and I'll talk to you again early next week. But thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate all the support. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Thanks so much.